So we're going to be bringing on our next guest, and her name is Sheila Bell. I have been connected with Sheila for years and years and years on Facebook, and um, I finally reached out to her. A lot of times, the motivation to reach out is when some of my author friends who I've known for years, but haven't yet been on the show, when they have a new book coming out and they advertise their book. So that's what prompted me to reach out to Sheila. She has a new book out that came out last month called The Pulpit Ladies. But she's written a ton of books over the years. And we welcome Sheila to Black Authors Matter TV.
Hello,
Hello, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you all this evening?
Doing great. Now you I didn't
Wonderful.
realize you were the founder of the Black Writers and Book Clubs at Literary Festival. I didn't realize that.
Yes, I was, and that went on for 5 years in Memphis, the BWABC, the
Mm-hmm.
Literacy Festival. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I remember I heard about it for a long time, but I didn't know who was putting it on.
Okay, that
So
was me.
so what made you start doing that, and um what made you stop doing it?
Well, what made me start, of course, I'm like you said, I'm an author, writer, editor, all of that. But I noticed too, the literacy rate really started to affect me because it began to dawn on me that we can write all these books, we can put all this information inside books, but if people aren't literate, if they're unable to understand and comprehend, then there's a serious problem. And I began to do research. I had a team of wonderful people who really started out as people who supported me as an author. They were really book club people, and I went to them with this vision. It was just a God-given thing about how we could promote literacy within the community right there in Memphis, Tennessee. So that's where the idea of this festival uh, came about, and it just started taking off. It went on for 5 years. It began to grow considerably. But then toward the end, like I said, 5 years it went on. It was getting ready to go into the 6th year. But just to be honest, the support just was not there. And it was really draining me. At the end of each conference or festival, I was in the red. Is that right? The red, because the black is if you're in the get, but I was in the red. So I mean, I coming out of my pocket, and because I was trying to make it as affordable as possible, trying to draw in people, even our young people, just the whole thing. So that 5th year, I just decided that was it.
Well, you're preaching to the
Well,
choir.
that took a lot of
Go ahead, Rhonda. You froze up, or are you?
Yes.
She froze up. Um, she might have to switch
oh, okay. Oh
device.
no, I was just saying
Okay.
that took a lot of bravery um and a lot of self-reflection to be able to stop because you sometimes you have to know when to say when, and everybody doesn't know how to say, okay, this is enough. So some people would say, yeah, the support wasn't there, but I'm going to try harder to get the support. What made you say, okay, let me just go ahead and call it quits now instead of basically just beating your head up against the wall? Because I know a lot of times that we as entrepreneurs do that. Well, we'll just keep beating our head up against the wall. We keep trying and trying, and then we drain our time, our finances, our self-esteem sometimes because we're trying to make it work. What made you say I'm not going to do that? I'm just going to go ahead and call it quits.
I just believe just that spiritual connection that I have with God. I was just and then again with my team, those 5 people who were on my team, I expressed my concerns to them. They were aware of the difficulties that we were having in it. And so they supported me as well. And then with my help, that was another thing. Many people, well, I guess people who really know me knew about my past, about me having polio at age 2. I've always been physically disabled. And so during that year before, I had even fallen and broken my hip and my knee.
Mm.
But I kept
Oh,
on. I went through that. I couldn't walk or anything. I was at the festival in the chair. And that's not to try to boast anything. I'm just saying I was going on with it. That was that year before. And so I was coming to the realization, wait a minute. Not only am I not getting the support, it was another thing. I'd had that fall, that horrible fall. And
mhm.
it had taken me away from what I do, which is writing books.
Okay.
Just like you, Gwen,
Mhm.
said, I mean,
Yes.
a lot of people didn't even, they began to separate, not even realize that I was an author because they knew me from the BWABC. But my real passion has always been writing. And that's when I started with urban books, the urban Christian line. I wrote all that line of books and did some editing and everything for them. But when I got into that literacy festival, I couldn't not, if I'm going to do something right, I just couldn't fully commit to my writing and that festival because you've had the festival year after year, Gwen, and
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
National Book Club, and it never ends. When you
No, it
finish one,
doesn't.
you have to
Yeah,
start.
when you finish one, in fact, we start a lot of times we start on the next one before, like we'll have plans for what year are we in? 2025.
Yes,
Like when the last one happened, we had some things for this year already set up before the 2024 festival was over. Because sometimes you have to do that in order to get people you want, one,
right.
you know, or the venue, the hotel, you have to do everything so far in advance. And uh when you said it was draining financially, you're preaching to the choir. A lot of people think it's a money making thing, and I tell people if money was my goal, I wouldn't do the event.
Mm-hmm.
If that
Yes,
was my main thing, that wouldn't be how I would make the money because it's easy, a lot
exactly.
easier ways to make money, and it's also very physically demanding.
Yes.
Like this is our 18th year. We're almost at year 20.
Wow, I
It's
just
hard to
applaud
believe.
you. I do.
It's hard to believe, but um, every year it seems like this year, people sign up, so people are waiting to get in because we sell out, and like right now we're already at 38% sold for an event that's happening in October,
Yes.
and by the end of April we'll be sold out. We won't be able to take any more
Take
vendors.
any more. Yes.
So it's a need, definitely a need. There's a lot of independent authors. There are more and more and more and more independent authors.
Yes, that's true.
And they need somewhere to be, somewhere to meet the public, to
Mhm.
sell their books, to network with other authors and people in the industry. Um, that's favorable, that's
Right.
comfortable. This is like a safe space for them. So we keep doing it. And Rhonda came on board as our literary correspondent 6 or 7 years ago. I lose track of when it was. By the way, welcome as a guest on our 200th show. This is our 200th show.
Well, congratulations. And I'm on 200 show.
Yeah,
Yay.
you're on the 200th show. So, um, you need when you do things. I know you. I noticed you said you had a team, and without the awesome team that we had for the festival, it couldn't happen. We have an amazing team. That's I would say it's the best team in the country. And they've been with us for years. Most of them have been with us for most of the event.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
we
that
don't.
takes a lot too for someone to dedicate that time,
It
especially
does.
see for me, I looked at it too. Those 5 people uh dedicated their time and committed to me, even though it wasn't their dream. See, that was my
Right,
dream, but
right,
they fed into it and
right.
they just stuck with me. And even now, I've had a couple of suggestions from not from them, but people on the outside book clubs and things about maybe trying to have it virtually, especially
Mhm.
with the fact that now my getting physically getting around is has really been compromised. So I
Mm.
don't travel like I used to be able to or get around like that. But I still, when I talk to those same people, we said no, it just wouldn't have the same impact because it's more than literary, it's literacy. And
Hmm.
so we felt like we needed to be more hands-on then instead of virtual, like we know. So that was the reason I went to them and they said, nah, maybe, maybe we'll think of something else. And
Yeah.
so but it's giving me the time to start back concentrating on my writing.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we did the festival virtually during COVID for two
I know
years.
you did. You kept on. And see,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. You kept on, but I had already stopped then. You
Right.
see? And so now to start back, when someone suggested it, then I said, well, what about you think we could do it virtually? Especially now, too, that I'm in Colorado. See, a lot of things changed. That was in
Mm.
Memphis. That's where I'm from. That's where everything took off. From Memphis, I went to Nashville, where my son was from. Now I'm in Colorado. And so it's just, everything has changed. But, I look at that and I think, too, everything is in its time. It.
That is true.
And
There's a season.
I'm glad,
Everything has a
yeah.
season.
Yeah, and I'm glad it was made a positive impact. We were able to, change some lives. We'll be able to meet a lot of authors and book clubs, people from all over. And so it was an exciting time.
Yeah. Now let's get to your writing. You've written over 40 books.
Yes, I read over 40 books. I started out again with under Urban Books, Carl Weber, who gave me a chance, and I wrote for him for years. And then I branched out on my own, I think, in 2012. And that was when independent authors were beginning to really sort of be recognized and coming out. It used to be sort of
Mhm.
taboo to say that you were
Yeah.
self-published or
Right.
independent. That was, oh, you didn't want anyone to know that. And
Right. It,
so,
it was taboo for in the
yeah, it
early
was
years.
taboo.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so I branched out and really started trying to help other authors because I had such a difficult time in the beginning before I was able to sign with Urban Books trying to get my books published. And so I just started dedicating myself to trying to help other authors and bring awareness to what they could do on their own or with help. And so that's what I started doing and started writing on my own and formed my own company. And for a while, I did have other authors under me, but I was like, no, that's too taxing. I don't want that responsibility of having,
Mhm.
somebody else's career in my hands. So I got away from that quickly. And now I just help people as an editor. That's what I do now. I help authors as an editor and help people bring their books to life.
Okay. Now, what
Oh,
year did you
that's
start?
I mean, a lot of people need that help too.
What did you say, Rhonda?
I said a lot of people need that help as well. I mean, some people think it's just about marketing, but you have to be able to write the book well in order to market it.
Exactly. And that's sort of where I fall in. People may send me the manuscripts back. Someone has told them about me and what I do. And I have to be honest. That's another thing. I'm going to be honest with them. And
Yeah.
sometimes that can feel good. Sometimes it doesn't feel so good. But, not to dash anybody's dreams, but anybody that I can help along the way, that's what I want to do. But I want them to be, to produce the best product because sometimes we can get caught up in just trying to put something out just to
That's
say that
true.
our name is on it.
Mhm. Just to say,
And
now the thing is now people are trying to do AI books that don't even they didn't even
and I'm
write them or
wondering how
anything.
that's going to work.
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
sort of I don't know.
I don't
That's
know.
a whole new ball game.
Yeah, it is. But they're trying because we do a children's book awards. We do the Black Authors Matter Children's Book
Yes.
Awards. And so people submit their books. I think this is our third or fourth year. I think it's the fourth year. Yeah, I think so. But we get a lot of submissions. And last year was the first year we actually got some AI books where it was obvious the whole book was AI. The,
Wow, oh, that's
the
unbelievable.
illustrations and the inside, it was all AI. And so we had to make a rule for this year that, especially for Best Illustrator, AI books are disqualified. You can't submit an AI that because you didn't illustrate that. AI, a computer did it. Software did it. So, but it's more and more common.
Yeah.
I think
Wow.
that's a lazy way to go about it. You can get an idea of what you want something to look like through AI, but making it your final
Mm-hmm.
product, mm,
I agree with that too. I just wouldn't want that to be my final product. And it takes away to me from, I guess, the talent or
yes,
it,
yes, the artists that actually have art talent.
yeah.
It's so that's why we don't best illustrator. It has to be actually someone who
Hmm.
did the illustrations. Um,
Yeah, I don't see how somebody can call themselves best illustrator if they're using AI. I have nothing against using AI for certain things, but I don't think you should call yourself best illustrator
I agree.
if you've used AI.
Right.
no, I don't think so.
It
That's
wasn't you.
cheating.
It wasn't you, and so I agree with you on that.
Yeah, or the writing. Now,
Writing,
now
yeah.
they have as a thing. I
Hmm.
saw recently online where people were writing like their bio or their autobiography by feeding AI some things about them, and then the book would spit out like it would spit out a book.
Oh yes, that's what I saw that around Christmas,
Yes.
and I think yeah, Christmas time, and you can
It
put
Oh,
was
you're
this
talking about writing a
information
whole
in.
book.
Yeah, if I want to
mhm.
write something about you or Rhonda, and you are friends or whatever, and I can put in there Rhonda likes this, Rhonda put in these little clues or whatever, and it brings a book up, and it was supposed to produce a book. I was like, this is the thing though. I'm wondering if that is going to be able to be the next thing? Is it going to take our place? I do have some concern about that as far as I'm securing what I write, of course, but
Mhm.
still I have some concern. Is this the new thing? Is everybody going to be writing these AI books and they AI bestsellers or whatever? What's going to happen with that? Because as
I don't,
time goes on, is you seeing it more and more.
yes.
It's like now on my computer, I didn't load this. I didn't load up the software on my computer that now is under Bing or something. But anyway, it comes up and it gives me these really AI answers. I may put in National Book Club Festival, and the AI will go and look up the history or whatever and I didn't tell it to do that.
Yeah, it's doing that now. Some of it's helpful. Like Google's
Yeah,
using it
some
a
of it
lot now.
can be,
When
but
you Google certain things, some AI information comes up now. Um, and a lot of times it's not the exact or correct information, so you have to continue to look.
yeah, you do
But and
true.
it's also on Amazon and summarizing reviews of your book. Like there's an AI summary of what the reviews are on your book that'll
Oh
say
my
something
goodness! Now I
like,
didn't know that.
look on your books, the ones that have gotten a lot of, more than, I think it's a certain number of reviews makes it kick in. But it'll say, readers said this about this book. And it's basically grabbing, portions, like summarizing what was in the reviews of your book.
I've seen that. I take that back. You're right. I have seen that. But see, my mind, I didn't even equate it really with AI. I just,
Oh yeah, yeah, it's AI doing that. So,
my goodness.
it's a brave new world. As
Yeah.
a reader, I don't want to read an AI book, and AI pulls things that people have already done. It doesn't
Okay.
create new stuff. That's still up to humans to do.
Yes.
New
Yes.
story ideas, new. And what I say, you probably need to protect your ideas more and not put them out there until they're finished and copyright.
Yes. I agree.
You know, because AI will grab it.
I
And
agree.
um, so you have your new
I
book
don't
is,
think that's
hmm, what were you gonna say, Rhonda?
how AI. You do have to be careful, but if you can purposely ask it to plagiarize, and it will not plagiarize. It will tell you that it cannot do that. So I think it's pulling ideas, but it's not pulling other people's work.
Okay.
Okay. Not
Good.
yet. Anyway.
Exactly.
I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. Okay, so I want to talk about your books. You got a new one, and then it's a series, and then you have the next book in the series coming out in the fall of this year. So the Pulpit Ladies came out in January last month. So tell us
Yes.
about that. Do you have a copy of that one with you?
I knew you were going to ask, and I just know, and I sent my last copy out. So I'm
Well,
waiting
that's
on
a
more
good
authors.
thing. You're shipping copies out.
Oh, yes, yes, that was a blessing. I was like, okay. And I had one book left that I had to ship
All
out. And
right.
so,
All right. Well,
anyway, now I'm waiting on
I did
another.
put your link in the chat. So
Thank
everybody
you.
click on the link so you can see Sheila's books.
Okay, thank you so much. And I have some other copies of the other books before that, but not the Pulpit Ladies. But
Okay.
that's book 14 in the My Son's Wife series, which I started writing for Urban Books. That was my first, one of the first books I wrote under Urban, and it was called My Son's Wife, which was supposed to have been, I thought, that's why I tell you, I just let things happen the way they do, because I always say, oh, I'm not going to write series. I'm just going to write standalone books. And I wrote My Son's Wife, and I thought, hey, that's going to be a standalone book until, again, getting into the actual professionalism of being under a publisher, traditional publisher. I had to get used to, the reviews and people, the feedback. And so when people start asking me, what's the next one going to be about, in the books, in the series, and I was like, next one. They want another book under, and, and that's how it started. And now it's book, I'm working on book 15 in that particular series.
Wow. So it's
And
the same people? Are
it's
you
the same
retaining the
people. Now, some people
characters?
have died, yeah, but it's the same family.
So you
It's
kill
the
some of them
church.
off.
It's just,
Some of them have gone on to glory. Okay. So what's the Pulpit Ladies about?
Pulpit Ladies is again a continuation of the My Son's Wife series, and it is talking about, if you haven't really just followed this series, you still should be able to catch on when you read the book. But it's about these four ladies who attend the church that's always in question in the series is Holy Rock. So that's the name of the church that
Oh,
everyone
okay.
goes to. Even though now, since a rivalry happened between the two brothers, then one is branched off, and father and son. Then one is branched off, and now there's a church, New Holy Rock. So the Pulpit Ladies is a ministry that was started by the wife of one of those rival ministries, and it's called the Pulpit Ladies, and it's circling around four ladies in the church who will have each have their individual problems. Uh you have Eliana, whose husband, he's a pastor, but he's a cheater. You have Pepper, her husband was undercover gay, and so they had marriage problems. You have Luna, and her husband can't have kids, but just put it this way, she's just giving birth to a baby, not in so
Oh.
we talk, and then we have Fancy McCoy, who's a former first lady. So the story is centering around them and the things that they've overcome, because throughout the series, each one of them have had different challenges. And so this particular book is just focusing on these particular four ladies.
Oh, okay. Something that you said reminded me of something my brother said. My brother's passed. He passed in 2007, but he was a born preacher.
Yes.
My dad, I'm a PK. My dad's a pastor, but my brother,
Okay.
he was a born preacher. When he was 5, he was preaching sermons. He could listen to a sermon on a record and then like regurgitate it, like all the inflections when he was 5. So it was just in him. But he said that when black people, like if it's a church and there's a church fight and a split, they'll always either call the new church new something, or greater or greater.
Yes, so that's
And so when
exactly
you said in the other church was New Holy Rock, that
right.
just reminded me of him saying that.
Yes.
I mean, y'all authors and the way y'all be naming these churches and these books, y'all be killing me.
Oh, yeah, I had a
The
for
thing that
my
they are, it's not like they're exactly, you know, when I say I write, my slogan is I write perfect stories about imperfect people like you and me.
okay.
So when you pick up the
Love it.
Master's Wife series, if
Love
you
it.
think what you say, Brenda, okay, if you're thinking
I
that you're
said I
going
love it.
to, oh, okay, if you think you're going to get some cleaned up, fixed up type of book, no, these people have a lot of drama going on in church. And so and that's the thing about it, because I want to portray realism. I like to write real life stories. And people are not perfect. I don't care if you're in the church, in the pulpit, or whatever. And so I bring those different things out in that series too. And so I think that's why it's my best-selling series. And even though I keep saying, okay, this book it
This
should
is
be
it.
coming
This
20.
is it. This
Yeah,
is gonna be the last book.
yeah. But then, it isn't the last book. And so, and it's my, like I said, it's my best-selling series.
Yeah. Now in my novel, I called my church because I said I want to name it something that it won't be a name that'll be an actual name of a church that somebody can say that's my church. So I named it the House of the Living God, Cathedral of Love. That's a long
Okay.
name. It's not. So that way it can't, it's not, that's too long a name for the average church. So that's why I did that. I really, it's like two church names in one. And I
Right.
named one church. But it's not a book about church. There's just a character in the book that's in there briefly. And he's a pastor over this House of the Living God, Cathedral of Love. And he has political ambitions and it ends badly. I'll just say that. So
Okay.
it's kind of like a parody, really, because he's really like a parody, the character. So, uh, but writing about church people and being a PK, it's some interesting things that go on in church, and there's really a never-ending well that you can draw from
Yes.
because church people are actual real people. They're just at church, and you got some people
And
who.
that's the thing. And you have some people who write what they, now my writing is clean writing, but I'm saying you have some people who really a little bit, they don't want their characters because it is a Christian fiction or a church book or whatever,
Mhm.
certain things they won't write about or not allowed. But again, I write about imperfect people, the real people that you sit next
Mhm.
to on the bench on Sunday. So
Yeah,
those kind of people, the real folks, the real pastors up in the pulpit. And
yeah,
so with that aim of sharing and teaching about how we all are imperfect, but we all have an opportunity to make our lives better.
yeah. Well, I have some good friends at church, and sometimes we talk among ourselves, and share confidences. Sometimes you need to have someone you can talk to that is not going to go any further. Just to share with, and people that you see now that look like they have it all together. You just don't know what they've been through to get to where they are right now. And
So
some
true,
of it's
Queen.
just painful and ugly and all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
But faith in God is what is like a common thing or overcoming um, source.
Yes.
Because if you have faith in God, you can see your way through just about anything.
Hmm.
But you can't just wait on God,
Right.
because faith without works is
Works
dead.
is dead. Yes.
So you have to do something. You can't just sit around and say, "Good God, fix it," because he'll fix it if you're gonna have to do something. You
Yes.
know. So, but Sheila, tell actually I'm a little bit past my time, but I do want you to mention the next book, Church Fellas. This is coming out this fall, and it's the next book. So it's the book 15
Yeah,
in the
in church
series.
fellas. And so you can sort of gather if that was pulpit ladies. Now the
Okay.
church fellas are really their exes or the guys in church or the ones who yeah, the ex-husbands or the
Okay.
ex-relationship guys. So this is going to be focusing more on them. And I'm
Okay.
excited. I'm in the midst of writing it right now. And so I'm really looking forward to having it released.
So what was the very first book in the series? If somebody wants to start with the begin at the beginning, is the first book still available?
Yes, the first book is still available. My son's wife, the
Okay.
beginning. That's it.
Okay.
My son's
Okay.
wife, the beginning.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. If
And
people
so
want to start at number one and work their way up to number 15, they can do that.
they can do that. Yes, they can do that. So I'm really excited about that and looking forward to Church Fellas coming out.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being a guest. I'm glad to finally meet you face to face for the first time, even though it's virtual. And but we've been connected
But
on.
I feel like I know you anyway, though.
Me
I mean,
too. Me
yeah, so
too.
I feel like I know you. But
Yeah.
I do want to say too, that I appreciate you, and I want to take this time now to applaud you and to give you your flowers because you've been around, like you said, now almost 20 years, Gwen. You're doing remarkable work. You've supported authors like myself. I appreciate you. I'm thankful for you, and just even the opportunity to be part of this is a blessing for me, especially too, like I said, since I don't travel like I used to. And I just thank you for noticing me and thank you for all the support you've given to me and other authors all around the world.
Oh, well, you're welcome. Thank you for being a guest on the show and
Okay.
continued success. I had to pick up one of your books. I have to decide if I'm going to start at the beginning or just do the pulpit ladies. So
Okay.
we'll see.
All righty. And
All
thanks,
right.
Wanda.
Take care.
Okay, you too. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye.